Hi
Hi,
everyone.
Kelly.
How you doing,
Hi,
Kay?
lovely. And hi, everyone who's joining us. Been looking forward to this episode so much, Kelly, with everything that you've been telling me about the energies that are happening at the moment and what's coming up for us in the new year and everything. So I can't wait to hear more about that from you in a moment. Before we get going, shall we just open the space? Have you got a candle?
Yeah, ready to go?
Yeah, I've got one. So just allowing this light, this flame, to symbolize the divine eternal light that we bring, that we hold in this session and always. And setting the intention now that everyone who watches this session is held in that divine love and light. And sending now the intention to protect each and every one of us and to protect our devices that we use to watch this episode and to connect with each other and to state without equivocation that we are only available to that which is of the light, that which is of love. And we ask our guides and angels and our loved ones and ancestors to surround us now, to hold us safe, to hold the energy, and to protect us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.
That was lovely. Thank
Oh,
you.
and I can just,
Kay.
sorry, Kelly, I just felt some light language come in there then. So is it okay if I just
Of course.
channel that
Yeah.
through now? Ishna sitia ea kososuna sia tia shiana ea tistisia ai shiakakusuna ea sastatiko oea inaya tiakoa stistiana e shikatkosun ea inna sitiakoso ea shiana e sitiakosoa Anna tia tia se stitko sun shiana e tiana estitia ea tia ea shaktiana ea su sunia he sisia o sunia ea tiaka shana se sia o sisia ea.
Oh,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you. I just felt that was really cleansing and yeah, comforting. So thank you for
I
starting us
think
off
they
that
were a bit
way.
annoyed with me that I sort of cut the opening short. It was like, hang on a minute. So,
We're not done
hang on
yet.
a minute, we have something to say.
Brilliant. Love it.
Anyway, Kelly, so you've been telling me because I've seen a little bit about it on social media, but I've got to admit, I've just think like a lot of people have been in my own little bubble recently, a little bit in my own world. But there is lots of information about the intensity of the energies and what we're going through and what we're being called to do as we come towards the end of this year. So, would you like to explain a bit more about that?
Because we're hurtling towards the end of the year, aren't we? And I think we're all about to hit that really busy, crazy, festive time. But
Yeah.
at the same time, we're all feeling, I think for people that I'm speaking to and things that I'm reading, it all heightened on the new moon, which was on Thursday, and it was a Scorpio moon. And it's just really, really asking us to, and it's opening us up to really clear out any sort of stagnant emotions, any shadow side of us that we haven't cleared yet, because it has been a year nine and the year of the snake, and that has been about endings, which is the year nine, and the snake is the shedding. So we've all been feeling it, but now up until this point, we're all thinking, oh my goodness, I thought we'd dealt with all of that, and there could be
Yeah.
purging, crying, like you said, feeling like we just want to hibernate. So it's affecting everybody slightly differently. Lots of people are having to rest, and if they're not resting, they're getting sick, so they have to be in that stillness. So yeah, I think we're all hanging on. What we did, but it's really important to acknowledge. Yeah, that's the vision. I was
By
like,
the fingernails, like yeah, yeah.
there's nothing left. And, I think it's important to understand why. Sometimes if we can get an understanding, it can maybe just settle us a little bit. And it's really because we're literally hurtling towards a different energy in 2026. It's not going to be straight away, as we've just spoke about, because if we're talking about the lunar years, the snake, this one's going to be, we're heading towards the horse, and that kicks in. We just had to look it up, didn't we? The 17th of February. And
Yeah.
obviously that horse energy is like that real just go, it's that momentum. And I follow a really lovely astrologer, astrologer Pam Gregory, and she talks about us being in this like rehearsal stage, and we've had lots of rehearsals throughout the year, but this new horse energy is literally just go, like we're out of the paddock. We are, it's hurting. We can't sort of stop it, so to speak. But it's going to allow them to come to the March equinox. So much more light will come in. It's all about prepping ourselves to step into the new identity. Because a lot of us, although we are feeling like we're safe and we're in our cocoons and we're maybe a little bit of a chrysalis type stage where we're in that
Mhm.
murky before we turn into the butterfly, we know that there's little bits of light starting to creep in, but we're not really sure what that looks like or feels like. And it's really unsettling, isn't it? And naturally, we
Yeah.
go back to where we feel safe. Um, and lots of us are knowing that like this has got to be my year because of everything that's happened to us this year. But it's just really trying to navigate what a new version of us looks like. So yeah, it is. It's pretty.
Yeah.
You know if you resonate with any of that, or if you can notice.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I certainly do. But it's sorry, just laughing at you, sort of, because the shedding of the skin, it's like, well, like how many layers, Is it like, sorry, it always makes me think of Shrek when he says to Donkey it's an onion or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is
it is
there
like
any
layers
skin
and
left?
layers.
What's going on?
Yeah, I know, and I know, and you do feel like, good, am I down to the raw flesh now? But I don't think it's anything at all to be afraid of, even though, like you say, we do kind of want to retreat a bit. But I think that at the moment the sense of retreat is coming up, like you say, as a need to sort of rest, because when we're on the receiving end of all this energy, where we are sort of shedding those layers and we are kind of healing some more, and we are starting to be, we are being activated, not just once but kind of repeatedly at the moment. And I just think that that energy, we need to be gentle with ourselves, to just, like you were saying before, we need to allow ourselves to integrate that and not to be afraid of it. And resting isn't necessarily like, going into hiding as such. It's just making a conscious choice to sort of retreat, rest, and integrate, and doing that with intention and letting us be led by self care and by listening to ourselves and listening to what we need and listening to our bodies and things. But it is happening at a time of year that's kind of, for a lot of people, it can be a very, very busy time for a lot of people, and for even more people it can be a very emotional time of year. It can be challenging and difficult at so many levels. So then to kind of know that, oh, there's all this change and shedding your skin happening at the same time, it can just all seem a bit
And
a bit
I think
much.
it's really important that you touched on it isn't anything to be frightened of, because actually what it is, it's preparing us for something that is far more exciting and
Oh
more,
yeah.
you know, powerful than we ever could have considered. And we're they're not, well, who's they, we're not supposed to be taking all our luggage and all our baggage with us into this new energy. So
Yeah,
it's like we're dropping it off the boat, so we're not gonna sink, so to speak, when there's a bit of a flood happening. Like, get that
I
off,
like
leave
that.
that.
Yeah,
There's
getting rid of that
no-
unnecessary,
yeah,
dead weight. Yeah,
knock
yeah, and
it
traveling
over.
light.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Mm.
But and like I say, sometimes when it says, oh, like, stepping more into your true self, your authentic self, stepping into your power, lots of us can be like, oh, yay, that sounds amazing, can't wait. And other people be like, oh, no, that's a scary amount of change. And what does that actually mean? And what does that look like? And how is that going to affect the people around me, etc., etc. So there's can still, it just depends. I mean, that's a natural thing, and we all of us go through that. But it does, I suppose, depend on whereabouts you're at in your journey. And obviously, all of us, you know, need support, different kinds of support at different times. And I believe that's why last week when it was the Scorpio new moon, and that you downloaded something, didn't you? And you've created this kind of new activation container for people to specifically, I believe it was downloaded to you to support people through this transition period between now and the lunar new year, or and the kind of the calendar new year as well in particular.
Yeah, so up until
So what
last week, I
what
would
was
just worked with people on a one-to-one basis. The most package that I would be offering is like 3 one-to-one sessions over the course of sort of 2 months or so. And I really tuned in and felt into these energies myself. And I was really inspired to create like a 6 week, called it the new moon activation portal, but it is a 6 week activation where it's just that one-to-one support, and it's really personalized, like you say, because everybody's at different stages of these journeys. And what
yeah
the whole package involves is those 3 one-to-one sessions are still there, but in between that there's support daily, because once you start opening up, okay, what is coming down the road for me? Where is my energy, and how can I work with this to become a new version of myself and step into my highest timeline? Things do start to want to come to the surface, and that in itself, like you said, can be really, really unsettling. And if we were doing it by ourselves, we'd probably run back to where we felt safe. So yes, there's the one-to-one messaging throughout the 6 weeks, but then there's this beautiful little personal temple that you get access to, and there's like daily card pulls in there, activations that I'm guided to give you. So I'm using my energy all the time specifically for you. So everybody that's in the portal isn't getting the same experience, but the 3 sessions, some people have started this week, but it starts off as soon as you're ready to get going, and then have one before the Christmas period. And then the final one is when it feels aligned in that January energy. And then you can really see sort of a whole sort of journey of where you were, how you were feeling. There's around the 19th of December, the Three-Eye Atlas energy comet that is in the mainstream media. My husband told me that we were to expect lots of spaceships to follow it. That's like, where did you read that? And it made me laugh. But the main comet, so to speak, is going to be the closest point to us, Earth, on the 19th of December. So that is really going to intensify lots of energies for us as well. So yeah, so the whole experience is there and available for anybody that is wanting to get involved and have that whole sort of complete hand holding experience and guidance, really, for me, because I'm able to channel healing through the one-to-one sessions. I can, like, my intuitive downloads will come in, because it's yeah, just making sure that everyone's ready and where they need to be, and feeling really great about and excited,
yeah
as you say, like there's
yeah
nothing to
yeah
be fearful of. So I'll pop the link in the description, so to speak. And
yeah
we are heading towards Black Friday, so I'll put a little code in there for our wonderful viewers and followers as well, for you to be able to get a discount on that. But
right.
Kate's services are there as well, because we do lots of, like I said, one-to-one sessions. It's not just this portal that's available to
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
But I do think I do love the sound of that sort of that container that you've created. And obviously it was downloaded to you for the reason for just to coincide with the timing of what we're going through at the moment. And I think that's why it's been so much on your radar and so much, that you've been kind of learning about it. And it's been so, your attention's been brought to it over and over, whereas I've been like mostly oblivious. And it just goes to show that because it was time for you to kind of create this for people just to help support us all
And yeah,
through
just
this
to give in
process.
context, that is me starting. I've come out of my comfort zone with this, because it's not something that I've ever thought would be available to me to offer. And then you go through that. Will anybody sign up? Like, what price point will I put on it? So the
Yeah,
fear around anything that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. But it's certainly something that I'm being guided toward. A lot of guidance I'm getting is that I'm ready to sort of step, like, I'm up leveling. And like you said,
yeah,
that is a really hard process sometimes to because you always want to stay there because you're like, oh, this is working,
yeah,
it's okay, but
yeah.
you're never going to grow and expand really if that's
Yeah,
where you
but
stay.
it's a very powerful energy exchange, and I know how much of your own energy and time and everything that goes into this, and everything that you work towards, to get you to this stage of being able to offer something like this, being able to confidently hold that space for people and know that you can guide them through the process. And that's not something to be, underestimated or undervalued, Kelly. But I think
Oh, thank
all too
you.
often, we as providers, we do tend to kind of undersell ourselves. And I think it's, yeah, so it's I love that you are doing a little Black Friday offer. So not to take, but again, um I think we need to all get comfortable with the fact that an energy exchange is taking place, and that those who feel called to you or guided to your services or to any of our services, it's for a reason. Because my guides, and I'm sure your guides say the same to you, is that those people that are attracted to us, those people that we can help and support and guide, are people who have gone through or are currently going through experiences that kind of mirror our own, because we've got that lived experience, and we've got that learning and that awakening and that journey and that process and that ascension that we've been through, that we continue to go through. And we attract those people who reflect that back so that we can naturally understand and empathize and identify with the issues that they're facing. And then we naturally know our energy, our light naturally knows how to help lift that and clear that and transmute that for them. And that's how it works. And that's something that isn't articulated enough, really, or kind of clearly explained, but it's something that's going to become clearer. And I feel like that's going to become more obvious next year, like you say, when the light starts to come in and people start to understand and appreciate more, that the process is more than just the one-to-one call or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that really fascinates me, and that's one thing that I love when working with people is that once you get, because for example, my client on Saturday, haven't ever met them, not aware of any sort of containers or groups that we're in together, and I'm really excited to, and then as I start speaking to her, then quite quickly you get the download, this is why we're meant to. So she's been guided towards
Yeah,
me, I was guided to put whatever service out that she's, and it is that you're bought into each other's energy fields, and it's all
yeah, yeah.
created
Like
for that to
magnets.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like
yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
the first question to this lady on Saturday would be, oh, can I just ask, where did you see my, because as Kate and I grow ourselves and we expand, we're not going to be able to track it as easily as we have been because we've been in our own little bubbles ourselves, haven't we? And working with
yeah,
same people. But yeah, it's a really fascinating process. But yeah, trust those nudges. And if something inside you, when I speak, when Kate speaks, it's like sometimes it's a tingling, sometimes you just can't stop listening to the person. It's that's your soul like pulling you in
yeah,
to that person's
yeah,
energy, which I love.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I do see a lot of things, a lot of, ads on social media that are very generic, and it always says, oh, if you're seeing this, you're seeing it for a reason, everything like that. I would say, maybe try and look beyond that, because it's more like it's the soul to soul connection. So it's not so much as an ad, but it's the person and their energy that you're drawn to. So I would say, have a, if you're feeling like you say, if you're getting that sort of tingle or that nudge, or it's and there's something around that person and their energy and you feel drawn to them, that's probably the signs to take notice of, rather than just reading something that's telling you that it's for a reason. I think we just need to be a little bit more discerning, look past that and kind of probably feel into it more, really, because it's like your body, your heart, your soul, that's what leads you, and when you sort of tune into that, it gives you more of a sign. And then if you still need some kind of um additional support or additional information or whatever it is before kind of making that decision, then most of us, yourself included, we do offer those little discovery calls and things, and there's those little no obligation chats, and in those chats, again, the energy is always at work, the light within it shines out. So that's an opportunity for those just to see how if that connection is there for them. And we there's never any hard sell or anything like that, is there? I can't stand anything like that, and and I don't know how to do it anyway. But and I know you're the same, Kelly.
Yeah,
So
if I've ever been
it's
in a
just
sales job in when I was younger, it used to really irk me, and I was never very good at it. I didn't really get much commission, or probably didn't last
there
very
you go.
long.
Yeah, it's just not very aligned, is it, for a lot of us? But and I think that's the thing. So, a discovery call doesn't mean you're going to be like pitched to or anything like that. It's just a genuine opportunity to have a little chat, to feel in the energy, and for both, us and the potential client, just to see, is this an energetic match? Because it is like a soul to soul calling. And when that connection happens, it's the most beautiful thing, and I absolutely love it. And that's kind of why I do what I do.
Yeah, and those connections
Uh,
can last months. I'm just thinking of my own journey and people that I've worked with to help support me. And or it's just in that moment, you just needed that,
yeah,
you saw that one
yeah,
offer and you were like, oh my God, and then it opens up the next thing, and then you're like, oh, that,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
isn't about
It
being
leads you,
sporadic, it's just that's how
yeah,
your guys want you to move through
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's not about keeping, because the last thing it is about keeping people kind of stuck, or certainly not, and never wanting to make anyone dependent either. That's not what it's about. It's all about to help somebody move through something. Like you say, it could be a one-off, it could be for like a certain period of time, and
Yeah.
it can bring in other energies and other connections and things that then takes that person onward on their journey. And we can often introduce people to each other because and that natural kind of synchronicity takes place.
Yeah, and I
So
think the energy work or these type of sessions are shifting, and they should be, to empower people to trust their own intuition and to have
yeah,
their own inner guidance, because like you said, otherwise you can get that dependency, or I must have
yeah,
a coach, or I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't have access. So it's for me, well, that's how I really like to put people like on the right path. And if you
yeah,
want to come back at some
yeah.
point, obviously my door is always open, but it isn't to say, oh, book me every month or have me as a like on a container
Speed
type
dial.
thing. Yeah. If that's what you need. But I feel like eventually you just like growing your little wings and off you go.
Yeah,
And then you might never
yeah,
hear how that person's doing. Hopefully you do at some point cross paths again so you can see the
yeah,
progression. But
yeah.
it's
But
lovely.
that is, yeah, it's not about trying to hold people or keep them in a space. It is about, like you say, just helping, move somebody along so that they can, continue on their journey with their progression,
Yeah.
and just move through whatever it is that they're currently dealing with.
Yeah, and like you say, not many people are aware that the energies that they're feeling is what we call the collective. It's been so intense that it's going to be more likely that more of us are feeling it than not. Whereas maybe a year ago, it was just a few people starting to awaken and feeling different, bit off. And now I think
Yeah.
you might find that, and it's not just us, is it? I mean, I'm just being guided to say about the huge volcanic eruptions. We've just had, there's one in Ethiopia, which is pumping out the ash that's gone right over to India. And then quite quickly after that, one of the Hawaiian volcanoes is pumping out
Mm.
lava. So Mother Earth is also like purging, and it's not the end
Yeah.
of the world. And it's this, I'm not telling this to sort of
No.
everybody batten down the hatches, but we're just all needing that huge release. And because we are human beings having an earthly experience, whatever the energies are across the globe, so to speak, we will feel those intensely as well.
Yeah, 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 we do. It's not necessarily a conscious level,
No,
it's not about sort of watching the news necessarily, or sort of, but it is about the fact that we are all connected, and therefore we're all sensitive to these changes in energy, and we're more sensitive than we realize. And and as we kind of go on this journey, we become increasingly sensitive. That's why sometimes people who used to be okay in crowds suddenly find that they don't want to be in crowded places anymore, that they find, a lot of us find that our kind of our tastes change, our lifestyle changes, we want to sort of live in a different kind of way. We don't want to be in that 9 to 5 anymore. All of this is just a natural progression. And it's kind of breaking away from everything that we've been told and conditioned to believe is the norm, because it's actually not, and we're cyclical beings, and we have sort of natural rhythms and the circadian rhythm and all of that kind of thing. And the way that we live, kind of in a day-to-day sort of routine and all this stuff that's going on, it's not very natural at all to
No.
us. And that's why we're kind of moving away from that kind of overstimulation and all of that distraction and all of that being kind of boxed in kind of thing. And that's why we're sort of breaking away from that. But when we're going through the process of that, it can feel a bit strange, especially when we're kind of in that seeking mode and we're not entirely sure where we're going to end up or exactly what it is that we're seeking. And also that, yeah, our relationships can change as a result of that as well, and we kind of, and again, as humans, that's something that we can worry about, isn't it? But I think the message is that yes, you're not alone if you're going through this at the moment. Everybody is feeling it. We're all at those different stages. There's no need to compare yourself to anyone else. This is you and your unique journey. But yes, to understand that you're not alone and that it's not anything to be afraid of. There's lots of kind of scaremongering that goes on. But do reach out into those like trusted groups and everything, or you can reach out to me and Kelly in the comments here, whatever. But just, yeah, understand that it's necessary and it's a good thing,
Yeah. Nothing
and
like working on yourself and trusting your inner being. There isn't anything that is anything wrong about that. Not, if something
yeah,
falls away because of that process, that was meant to fall away. And nine times
yeah,
out of ten, everybody comes into your alignment because what you're doing by doing working on ourselves, we're actually raising a collective vibration. So if you think about it, so when we hear all those awful things on the news, like I've just described, and if there are humans that are being affected by that, then we are supporting them because they're not able to do that for themselves because they're obviously in quite a
yeah,
dire
yeah,
situation. Um, but for the rest of us, and I do know, I mentioned Pam Gregory, she holds a collective meditation every evening at 7 o'clock, and there are lots of other global groups that do that, and it's everybody's energy tuning in at the same time and
yeah,
in the love and light. So it's probably the next level there, but it's just different ways that you can just yeah, navigate is probably what I'm saying, and just yeah. Do some
yeah.
good for yourself and the ripple effect, which I love. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've received some questions. We've received two questions, actually, both from the lovely Angela. And there's two quite meaty questions,
Yeah.
aren't they? So we're going to try and respond to one of those, the first question today, and we're going to do the next question in 2 weeks' time when we record the next Soul Talk session. So yes, Angela has asked us two questions. The first of it all being is like, how can I discover my soul path? And the second one is, how can I deepen my connection to spirit? I think I've not actually got the questions right in
No,
front of
that's
me, so
okay.
I'm doing that from memory. But
Yes, it was
yeah,
it is your soul path, but it was described as how to find your life's purpose. So
yeah, how do I find my life
yeah,
purpose?
it's
That's
pretty
it.
linked to your
Yeah,
soul path. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
exciting.
And I did kind of, I must admit, I kind of did. When I first read that question, I thought, great question, Angela. Like, and if you ever find the answer, let me know. But and that was my initial response because I was like, wow, I don't, that is a really big question. And I sort of slept on it. And when I woke up this morning, there was all sorts of stuff coming through to me, and I thought, well, yes, I already knew that really, but it's just I just maybe just needed that reminder, and I think it's no coincidence that Angela's chosen to ask these questions at these times because something's like nudged her to ask them so that we can then put the answers out here in this space. So when it comes to finding, discovering what your life purpose is, I mean, I used to think I used to think I didn't have, a purpose. Like I didn't really have any specific calling. Like some people with them, it's a career, and they know from an early age what they want to do and kind of thing. And I've never had that in my life. And then obviously up until like a few years ago when I felt very strongly called to healing. But what I've realized on this journey is that what our sole purpose is to be here and to be us, really. And that's probably an answer that's probably gonna, I don't know, mystify or irritate people, like, oh, just be me, okay. But simplistic as it sounds, and it is fundamentally very, very simple. But when you bear in mind that we agreed to be here, we agreed to agree. We agreed to be here. We agreed to be in this body. We agreed to have our parents, our family, in our lives, and we chose all of this, and it was all agreed as part of the soul contract. So we came here to be us, to have these lived experiences, to learn these lessons, because as we know, everything's happening for us, not to us. Even though it's hard to remember at the time when we're going through it, it's all happening for us, and every experience is a gift. And as we go through these things and as we learn the lessons and as we become more self-aware, and as we learn how to tune into who and what we really are and where we come from, and the fact that we are these divine beings of light, and that we are all indeed connected, and that we come from love, and that is the energy of everything, that's the purpose. And as we do that, and as we grow, and we sort of tune into that more and more and discover more, our light gets stronger. It gets stronger. It gets brighter, and it's there. It's there in our energy, in our physical bodies, in our energetic bodies, in our aura. It's there in our voice, in our presence, so that those who come into connection with us and those who interact with us, they get to feel and see and sense our light, even if they're not, ever conscious of it, they will feel it at some level. They will feel it at a soul level, um, and that's how we, that is light work. That's what we mean by being a light worker. It's literally about holding and transmitting that beautiful divine light and sharing that with the rest of the world. So that is what we came here to do. So yeah, it's always about working on yourself. It's always about understanding the conditioning that we've been through. It's understanding the patterns, and we're often here to break ancestral patterns too. We're the ones that break the generational patterns of behaviors and trends and things like that. And we do that, and when we do that, we've also done a service to those who've come before us and those who will come after us by sort of breaking that pattern. It ends with us, it stops with us. So that's another part of all the soul purpose that we all came here to do. But obviously, when we're talking about soul purpose, as in something to do, I would say in order to discover that, it's allowing yourself to really kind of lean into and feel into what it is that gives you joy, because it's not meant to be like it's not meant to be a constant sort of battle. That if the words should and must come into it, then that energy isn't aligned. It's not about what you feel obliged to do. It's what you genuinely want to do, what you would love to do, what lights you up inside. Not to say that, following that path isn't going to bring its challenges with it, because again, that's part of you, on your purpose, learning those lessons, overcoming those challenges, seeing that, seeing them for what they really are, and as a gift to you. And that kind of purpose can always be evolving. So you might, for instance, I started off as doing Reiki, and then I became a Reiki master, and I really, really wanted to teach people Reiki, and I still do that, and I still love to do that. But initially, I kind of thought, well, that's it, that, yeah, I've ticked that box. That's my purpose. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to do to give people Reiki healing and to teach people how to do it for themselves so that they can go off and do it for their families and their loved ones, and they could eventually become Reiki masters and teach others, etc., etc. And like, let's and the fundamental kind of my sort of reasoning behind that was like, yeah, I want everybody to be able to do this, because if everybody else can do this, then it's just going to change the world, and it's just going to make the world a better place. So it's just a different way of spreading that light, isn't it? So that is what it sort of boils down to. But obviously, since then, things have evolved. And whilst I'm still kind of fundamentally and always will be a healer, there's kind of just other aspects to it. And as I continue, like on my path, and I continue to evolve and I continue to learn and shed those layers of skin,
The
even though I
onion,
don't think I've got
ripping
many
that,
left,
that little
there's
bulb
always
in the
more.
middle of the onion. That would be you, Kate.
Yeah, yeah. And it's knowing that everything's sort of cyclical, and you have those natural sort of ups and downs. So there's times where it all feels like, oh, it's all amazing and all in flow, everything's abundant, it's all just coming in, everything's synchronicities, it's all falling into place. And then something that happens unexpected, and it all just seems to, like, you feel like you've taken several steps back, but you haven't gone backwards. It's just another part of the process. And it is when you go about to go into another period of growth, as we know. And sometimes it feels like you're going backwards because you just need the stuff that you've not released, not let go of, not transmuted, not worked through. And so it's just giving you that opportunity to do that work and to clear all of that, and so that you can step forward. And sometimes also it's just the ego stepping in, because as we sort of evolve and we put ourselves out there and we do new things, the ego creeps in and goes, ooh, this is all a bit different. I'd rather stick with the familiar, please. Let's just go back to, like playing it safe, and playing it small. And yeah, it wasn't very nice and I didn't really like it. And you weren't happy, but it was familiar. So unfamiliar is safe. So sometimes it's just about the ego kind of jumping in there. But I don't feel like we really get anything that we cannot cope with. And when I say cope, it's not just about surviving. It is about learning the lesson. It is about seeing the opportunity and the gift in that, and evolving, and remembering again that the experiences that we have will be mirrored back to us by those that we come into contact with, whether that's more formally, whether as a client or just somebody that we, connect with in our communities or through friendship or online, whatever. It's so that we can, understand and empathize with what they're going through, and that we can, our energy that we carry can then help them, through that.
And I would say, I think you'll agree with me, Kate, it's like once you do start poking the bear, so to speak, and asking and being open to receiving the answer to this question, please, please be very, very open-minded, because I think we've mentioned this in other episodes. It isn't sometimes what you necessarily like, as you said, Kate, the Reiki, that felt aligned, and then bam, something else, another door opens, and you're like, oh, we're doing this now. And it's not about being erratic, and it's because it's the next layer,
Yeah.
the next
And
level,
that,
so to speak, because you're
yeah,
getting closer and closer. And it can mention the word collective. We're in the Go Beyond the Veil community, which looks very different, the work that we're doing from January when I joined, to how we're all working together now, because the
yeah,
energy shifted so quickly with the earth grids and things. It was like, right, we all had an up level, didn't we, an upgrade in our own
yeah,
way. And we
yeah,
now, when we do the sessions and we work with clients, we're starting to see different challenges coming through and things that are needing to be cleared and worked through. So that's really
yeah,
our purpose at the moment as the Go Beyond the Veilers. And then that will
yeah,
change again going into this new energy. So your life's purpose will shift and slide and move to where it feels you're going to have the biggest impact. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yes, it's like that roller coaster. Buckle up sort of thing. It isn't for the faint-hearted
Buckle up.
when you start just trying to discover what you're here to do, because like Kate,
Yeah,
the challenges will still be there. It's just how you approach them, how you
yeah.
overcome them.
I think that's a really important point, Kelly, that you've made. It's about having to be open because it doesn't necessarily look like what you thought it was going to look like. And that's where the resistance can come in. So when I kind of realized that, when I thought, oh, being a Reiki master was kind of the be all and end all of my particular purpose, and I could just carry on just doing that and kind of, nothing else. And when I was getting messages that it was things were changing, but not telling me what they were changing into, I felt a lot of resistance. I think I probably full on sulked, but there's no probably about it.
Did.
I definitely full on sulked and kind of went into a bit of despair because it was just like, well, I put all this time and effort and energy into doing this, and like, oh, and it's kind of like, why is it, why haven't I got more clients? Why isn't it like, why am I not busier and all that kind of thing? And it's just, again, I've moved on from that now, but that was difficult. That was a lot of that I worked through last year, and kind of part of this year as well, not but mostly like last year, having to kind of work through that. And as I go into the new year, the messages that I'm coming through from the guidance is that things are going to change again, and that I might find myself going in an unexpected direction. And again, no idea what that direction is, but I'm open to it because it's like the
You're not
saying,
going to sulk
resistance is
again.
useless. But it's not, but it's just we make things a lot harder for ourselves
Mm.
by resisting, and we don't really make mistakes. We have sometimes we have multiple opportunities, multiple pathways in front of us, and if we could only sort of see them from a different perspective, if we were kind of raised up and taken above and could see those pathways, we'd see that they all eventually led to the same place. Say there's the mountain and we want to get to the top of the mountain in front of us, and we've got these pathways and everything, they're all going to get there. Some of them might be a bit more direct, some of them might be a bit less rocky, and less obstructed, but they're all going to get us there, and we'll have different experiences on each one. So in that respect, we don't need to worry about which one to choose, just, but it is about, sometimes we feel like under pressure, or we've got to rush into making a decision. Other times, we'll kind of delay too long and overthink it and everything like that. So it's learning how to sort of trust, but also feel into it and go with what you're feeling, because we'll feel it. And even when we get good at doing that and leaning into it and feeling it, even when we've done all of that, we might still then go, oh, but is it right? Oh, but is it the right choice? And then be asking the same question over and over, or looking for external validation and going for all of the, you know, the endless readings and things like that, and just like, kind of, yeah, wasting time really. But so it is getting used to feeling into it, trusting the feeling and going with it, and letting go of, attachment to the outcome, really.
Yeah. And it's not about shedding everything about yourself. So I literally asked this question this time last year, and that's what set me on this trajectory. And here I am now with Kate. So I feel this is perfectly timed for this question, Andrew. So thank you very much. So I was like, if it's not, I literally threw all my time. If it's not this, what it, because everything I was doing wasn't working, and thought um my business is what I was supposed to be aligned to do. And I was like, right, come on, I'm hurtling towards 50. What is my soul path? But the point I wanted to make was it's not about completely stopping everything if you're not quite at that despair
Yeah,
phase. So if Reiki is something that's calling you, for example, doesn't mean you have to give up the 9 to 5. It just means that you go along to a masterclass, you do like, and then you feel into it, and then you very slowly build on that, don't you? So it's like
yeah, yeah, you don't,
still you
yeah.
following your life's purpose, your soul path. You're allowed to have a 3D experience at the same time as
Oh yeah,
as
yeah, totally.
um,
It can be incremental, can't it? And
yeah,
lots of people do that anyway, because yes, whilst we are all, spiritual beings, being of light and all of it, we have, and we're moving into that 5D at the same time, we are occupying, we are placed in this 3D world. So at the moment, it is still about, working at a practical level with certain things, isn't it? And the world will change eventually, and everybody will move away from this whole kind of concept of like, you've got to go out there and do a specific job and work hard and earn money, in order to supply the basics that you need to actually exist. So, because when we move away from that and everybody is just naturally of service in the way that they're actually designed to be, then yeah, we'll have a lot more equality, really. And everybody, because there's more than enough resources in this world to go around. And our birthright, as I've been told by my guides many, many times, so they're not just, I know I've been told it by my guys, but the message is for everyone. Everybody's guys is trying to tell them this. It's not, it's not exclusive to certain people, but for all of us here, abundance is our birthright. But we don't, but everything that we experience from birth is trying to tell us the opposite of that. And we see it as something that's very exclusive and only for, you know, the lucky few kind of thing. And that's not how it is at all. It's there for all of us. The resources aren't finite because we co-create with the universe, don't we? We manifest these
The
things.
spiritual community maybe over time have taught us or led us to believe that you have to live like an intra sort of very scarce lifestyle, not many luxuries and things like that. But like
Oh,
you
like
say,
monk like.
yeah,
Yeah.
it isn't that at all. You are allowed to have nice things and yeah, like you say, have call in that abundance, whatever that feels like for you, and that will start to open up once you start following
Yeah. Yeah,
nudges
you can
and
follow.
guidance.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, darling. We can. Yeah, you can. You can be of service. You can fulfill your purpose. But as I say, it's like following your bliss, following your joy, and living a nice life. Enjoying the things that you like to do, and have and be.
Well, I pulled a card focusing on that question. So we've touched on this as well today, like following your inner guidance with things. So it brings me nicely to the inner temple. God, I don't know where my camera's going.
Oh,
Rebecca Campbell. So she
oh yeah.
is really well known, but she's also now enabling people to sort of with this new deck. It's all about working with your inner temple. So I was like, well, what do the collective need to know about following their life purpose? And it's interesting, Kate, that you called it soul path because we've got the chamber of, can you see, soul
The
gifts. I'm going to go back a
Chamber of
bit.
Soul Gifts. Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, that is
She's
beautiful.
standing there, beautiful in a white dress, holding out a palm, but in front of her is that stunning energy. And the card description was just talking about what fills you up, what lights you up, what joy, what are you drawn to, and just really allowing yourself to be called into that inner sort of space. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a really beautiful experience. It's nothing to be sort of wary of or frightened of. So I'm definitely going to keep that for myself as well. I think we all need to be
Yeah.
taught today.
I think sometimes some people, just quickly, because I know we're coming to the end of the session, but some people might struggle actually to identify what it is that brings them joy. So in which case I would just say, well, but if you could close your eyes and kind of, imagine the life of your dreams, what might that look like or feel like, and how does that make you feel on the inside, if you literally, if there was no barrier, nothing that you could literally have be do anything in the world that you wanted to have be do, then with no constraints whatsoever, what might that look like, just to try and get yourself into that the feelings of what it is that make you feel sort of joy, or perhaps going into your past and or into your sort of childhood and perhaps thinking what used to sort of light you up, because and maybe just forget about it being your life path or purpose, and maybe just learning to discover joy for yourself if that's the stage that you're at, because I think it's a problem. I don't like to use the word problem, but I think it's something that a lot of people are struggling with at the moment, not even really having had that opportunity to experience or understand or know what it is that brings them joy. And so I would say that is a part of being here, then that is an experience for you to sort of work through is to allow yourself that opportunity to discover what that might be that actually makes you feel that joy. And it doesn't, doesn't even have to be something that's of service. It's just something that's completely for you, that lights you up inside. And then get to that point of being able to identify what that might be and what that might look and feel like, and then taking it from there, because we're all at different levels. We've all had different experiences. We all have different kinds of trauma that we carry with us that we need to release. So, again, everybody's at a different stage, and it could just be, well, I'd like, it could be like, oh, I'd like to have more friends, or I'd like to be in more of a community, or I'd like to be around people who kind of think the same way and who kind of, who are also on this journey and who kind of, accept me, that kind of thing. It could be, starting at that point. But it's just being kind of willing to allow yourself to explore that.
Really important. Love that. Well, it's been a great episode. Thank you so much, Kate, for your inner wisdom
Thank you,
and help
darling.
guide me to mine as well. I just really love it when we get together, and hopefully everyone watching's enjoyed it as well. But as always, we open to discussing anything that you think might be useful for yourself. You can ask a specific question through the email in the description for the agony aunt section, so to speak, as we like to call it. And like I said, any subject matters that you're reading about or worried or feeling, oh, is this right? We'll delve in, and we're quite open, aren't we, to be
Yeah,
guided by
absolutely.
what we
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah. And again, just a massive, massive thank you to the beautiful Angela, lovely soul who put that question in, and who also asked the other question about deepening the connection to spirit, which we're going to be looking at in our next episode. But for now, we're going to close the session. So we thank everyone who for watching, everyone who connects to and interacts with this energy. We thank all of our angels, our guides, our ancestors, and our loved ones for being here with us, for protecting us, and for holding this space. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Got my candle.
All right. I'll see you next time, darling.
Yes, take care, everyone. Hold steady. We're nearly there. Just keep hanging on.
Don't bite the
Yes.
fingernails.
Speak soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.